video. Today I'm going to show you how to make this potting shed card with the added bonus of pop-up flowers in the centre. Hope you enjoy watching and enjoy creating your own. For the pop-up flowers we're going to need 7 2-inch square pieces of the rose paper, and we fold them all identically. So we start by folding up in half, then into quarters, and then the free corner diagonally, and again flip over diagonally, so you end up with a triangle. Then take one free corner and fold that edge up to the long edge so that you get a kite pattern with a triangle on top. Then with a pair of scissors start a little way down the long edge and cut in a curve toward the top of the kite. Flip that side back over and then follow that edge round to finish off the curve. Then you can open up the flower and you get this 8-petaled flower. Finally, from one of your edge petals, cut down the fold and remove one of the petals altogether. So do that again, fold in half, fold into quarters. You've got a free corner, so you now fold that diagonally to the other corner, same on the other side. And then one of those free edges can turn back to the long edge to form that kite shape. Start a little way down on the long edge, cut a curve to the top of the kite, flip that edge back over and follow the curve to the other side. Open up and snip away to the centre along the creases to make another one. Okay, I've got my 7 flowers ready. I'm now going to colour them up with some distress inks so that they look different to one another. For the centre one I'm going to use some scattered straw. With a blending tool, place your thumb in the middle and then blend away from your thumb, working outwards, working the ink into the pattern, and that leaves a nice pale centre. Then for 3 more, I'm going to use shaded lilac. Again, working away from my thumb, keeping that centre pale. You don't really need too much distress ink, it's just enough to colour it up. Working my way around once again. That's 3 with shaded lilac, and then finally I'm going to do 3 with Victorian velvet. Now we come to the gluing, and any quick set glue would work perfectly here, and we're to glue the whole of one petal and overlap it with the next in that gap to form this cut cone shape. And we do that for each of the 7 flowers. Once they're glued, press them together and you'll find that they'll want to flatten in their own way. But you want to fold them in half along the creases that you've already made. And then it's time to lay them out and stick them together. So the first thing to do is make sure you have your yellow one in the centre, and then you have a red at the top with 2 lilacs either side. I have the petals pointing out for those, and then you have 2 reds either side, and finally the lilac at the bottom. And the centre row, if you have them all with the petals facing up, and the outer side have the petals facing out. So we now glue these together, and the flower works best if you just glue the tips of the petals. So we're gluing the outer petals of the topmost and then lining up the petals as we stick them on over the top. Now we glue the tops of each of those petals, and we're sticking on the yellow flower, so again those petals overlap. We now stick the middle 2 petals of each side and pop on these. And then finally we glue the top 3 petals and place our final folded flower on the top. So that is now ready to go in the card. First of all, starting with your Kraft card flower pot, I've cut out the pieces ready. First of all, we'll glue the top section, and for that I'm using the book print paper. Then I'm going to use some of the tools paper as my bottom section, and I'm just going to add some shading. This is Walnut Stain Distress Ink, and I'm going to blend some across the top where the rim would be causing shadowing on an actual flower pot, and then I'll stick that down again using the glue onto the bottom section. So once that's in place, I'm going to now shade the edges to make it look as if the pot is curved, the bottom because that's where the natural shading will be, and just a smidge around the top. And again, I'm just going to work using the blending tool, and with a finger firmly underneath you can blend those edges to get that curved effect just by wiping the blending tool at an angle and then working the edge a little bit more to get it darker. Turn it around, do exactly the same the other side, darkening that edge, and I hope you can start to see, if I keep it in shot that is, that the 3D element of it is starting to come. The other nice thing is that we end up getting rid of those white edges of the paper and card when we do that. So there's the background, and you can see that there's now shading underneath the rim and a curved shape starting to develop. Going to build up the decoration, and I've edged some of the signs. So this is the Best Wishes piece from the die cut topper pack, and I've also cut out and edged with the Distress Ink the watering can from the topper set, and we'll be gluing that into place, making sure all the little bits get a dab of glue on as well. Going to place that at the bottom, firm that into place, and then for the top I've cut out a circle or half circle of the polka dots, and to glue that directly into the center of the rim. I've done a daisy punch, and I'm just going to shape the petals forward between finger and thumb and stick that down just using the center. And then I have a Candi with foam pad attached, and I'm going to pop that in the middle. And then just to show how I edge the die cuts in the ink to get rid of that white edge and to help blend it with the rest, I just run the blending tool along the edge, and the foam overlaps and gives it a little bit of shading to the front edge, as well as removing those little nibs from the die cut and smoothing the whole thing off. And then I'm going to attach foam pads to the back, just to raise that off a little bit. And pop that over our flower, roughly in the centre. So that's the outside of our card done. Now the inside is going to be much the same. I've cut a piece of the timber planking ready to go on, and again, before I stick it down, I'm just going to shade that top edge, which is going to be the shading from our flowers as they cast shade over the pot. So I'll glue that into place. And once again, I'll go round and edge it. Trying to get a little bit of shading around the sides as well to give that 3D look. I've got a stripped crow across the middle. Roughly there. And then, especially for you, heart tab, to which I've already got some foam pads attached, and I've also edged that in the distress ink. And we're now ready to put in the flowers that we made earlier. So you have the flower shape as we finished it off. Put a little dab of glue, again only at the top of the centre, and fold in the card, lay it in the centre and fold the card flat to stick it down. And once again, on the facing side, dab of glue at the top, fold the card and press down. So leave it there for the glue to fully set before you start testing the pop-up. If you don't, there's a risk that the pop-up will pull apart and you'll end up with something not popping up. So we'll come back and have a look at that once it's dry. So here's the card with the glue now dried on the flower, and if we open it up, you can see the flowers expand and the bunch appear. And you can see the shading underneath, how effective that is, and why we only need to glue the tips of the flowers, otherwise you'll find that they won't expand properly. To finish off the card, I've got one of the labels, which I've edged with the distress ink again. I've added a couple of foam pads to the top. I'll add a little bit of glue to the bottom and slide it in between the flowers, and that's the card complete. It folds down neatly, will slip into the envelope with no problems, and what a blooming marvellous card that'll be. Thanks for watching.